What you building?
Oh, we're gonna build I'm in the process of building a new dash panel. You can see on Dad's car it goes over here. His is in pretty good shape. Mine's got a bunch of holes in it. So, just kind of being particular, I guess. So I wanted to change it up because I had a bunch of these holes that we don't need. Used to run a power steering pump on the motor, but found out it didn't work. So we drilled this big hole and we don't need it. We don't need a hole there at all. I don't need a hole here, and with the new gauges, I don't need a hole here. So I'm going back to a rock solid one. So just something we can do in the off season. We have time. Just nobody ever sees it, but it'll look better and make me feel better, I guess. So, and then once we get that in, we'll probably start running some wires. I've struggled getting a bus bar. For you guys that know what those are, let me shut the radio off. So, like I said, I've been struggling trying to find a bus bar. I ordered one on Amazon. It's supposed to be 3 inches long. It's like that long. I don't know what you use it for. Maybe to wire a Freightliner. So I need something that's going to fit under the dash. So I'm going to order another one. So we'll try again. We'll do process of elimination. I guess I'll pay attention more to the dimensions. This looked pretty small online, but it's not. So sometimes you strike out with stuff like that. So yeah, that's about it. Put some new fuel filters in, adjusted that, put some new panels on. Dad built these yesterday with the new rules and the new updates from Bicknell. I'm taking all the top fuel cell tin off because it's really not needed. Like a dirt late model, the fuel cell hangs out of the car. So you see it all the time. For a while, dirt had us, it had to be completely enclosed in aluminum. So you have the steel case and aluminum. It didn't really make a whole lot of sense and saved us some money. It's one of the rules that made sense to change, unlike some others. So we just built these. They look pretty snazzy. And then the deck will go right on top. So if you're looking at like the back of the car, you'll see the fuel cell now, which is pretty normal. I mean, you look at a super late model, asphalt or dirt, you always see the fuel cell. And you know, it's a bladdered cell in a case. Pretty much almost every race car you see nowadays, you see the fuel cell hanging out a little bit. So we decided to update that stuff, and then I'm going to change the center of my car to blue. So I went and got aluminum yesterday to do that. So you'll see like the hood and all that stuff. Where mine was orange last year, I changed it to blue because the orange stuff was getting pretty beat up. It's been on the car since it was new, and the car is going on its 4th season. So like, you know,
starting to get kind of faded.
Yeah, it's getting faded and getting smashed. Like you can see that panel over there, it goes by the front axle. It gets beat up after a while, you know, because it's evident. You end up bending the front axle or getting in a tangle and it breaks the shock. So just doing that, and then got some supplies, you know, some wiring supplies, stuff like that. I want to do a nice job kind of wiring up my dash. Maybe we'll do a video of wiring that. I get pretty particular when it comes to wiring, just because you don't want to have that nightmare at the racetrack of wiring issues. So trying to keep it as neat and as simple as possible. So if you do have a problem, you can trace a wire. You go, oh yeah, that's broken. But really with these cars, it's pretty simple because all the wiring, like you can see with Dad's car, it's all right here. You know, we've got our rep box here, and then you pull this, and this is all your gauge wiring. So, and even this one we could clean up a little bit. I think looking back at this, I wired this one, and I think we were just in a little bit of a rush. We were getting them together. Same thing with mine.
Well, this car was the car that you put together in less than a week.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so there was some stuff I had to plug and play, and you know, we did it in 6 days. So we got it to work. It works fine. But I might even take and fix his wiring too and update it all to where the way it needs to be. So those are things you can do in the off season. You know, you can neaten it up, stuff like that. Does it make you go faster? No. But at the end of the day, it might be worth, you know, one DNF, you know, something breaking. You know, sometimes a broken wire can give you a huge headache, you know, and you can't find it until you get back at the shop. So just doing stuff like that to eliminate issues. I re-ran my fuel line too on this one last night. I guess we should have shot a little footage last night. It was tough though because, you know, I was back and forth from the vise, but I took and put all brand new braided line. on this one, and then I moved the fuel shut off over by the seat. So just doing some stuff like that. So you can see like the fuel shut off is here. Easier for me to reach, easier for a safety worker to reach, you know, if they need to shut it off. I used to have it down here and I could barely reach it. It didn't really make a whole lot of sense. It's there for you. You know, if you're upside down, I like to shut the fuel off. So, you know, things like that where you can just reach over and grab it and off. Or sometimes it's funny, like you'll be rolling out onto the track and I used to hit it with my leg and be like, well, the car's not running right. And I'd reach down and, well, what do you know, I'd shut the fuel half off. So now it's right here, right in your reach. What else have we done? New throttles. We upgraded to it's actually a simpler gas pedal design. So you can see that's more of like a car style gas pedal. And the reason being was the throttles that we had, I don't know where I put them, they were more of like a horseshoe style. Maybe they're over here. I can show you what we did have. Maybe not. That might move too. Yeah. So anyways, it's a nice gas pedal, but I didn't like the way it had flop in it. Like down in North Carolina, I remember pretty vaguely we got, you know, tangled up in the heat race there. Guys were playing bumper tag and I got hit and it knocked my foot off the gas pedal because there's not anything on the left side. So it knocked my foot to the side and then you're just trying to go and you get run over even harder. And it wasn't really any of your doing. So now we've eliminated that. You know, the throttle literally runs around your foot. We're actually going to put a heel stop. So it holds your foot in there so it won't move. And I think it'll be more comfortable too. You know, if you don't have to kind of like cock your ankle all the time to make sure you're chasing the throttle, you'll be more comfortable in the car. So, you know, things like that come huge, you know, especially in like a 200 lap race. You might not notice it in a 30 lap race like we run at Devil's Bowl, but the 100 lappers, 50 lappers, 200 laps at Devil's Bowl, you know, with the Vermont 200 or anything like that, comfort is huge, really big. So being comfortable in the car, I always say, is worth a couple tenths because you're willing to risk it a little farther or drive it in a little deeper because, you know, you feel confident. So there's some other little things, like I'm going to buy a new seat cover with some more padding in it. We'd actually talked about doing a mold. They make a mold insert. So we might do something like that, just to be even more comfortable in the car. So yeah, but that's about it. You know, a bunch of little things here or there. It's been tough to video them because, you know, I've been here to the bench, back over, so some stuff like that.
Sounds like an excuse to me.
Sounds like an excuse to you?
Yeah, because I need to get out here more,
I'm gonna have to put a GoPro on my head.
Yeah, there we go.
Talk,
we can,
you know, put a fuel line together, and
we can do that.
We could do that, yeah. So, but that's about it. You know, just kind of doing the general maintenance stuff, kind of eyeing the schedule, seeing where we're going to kick off and get started. We're still not really 100% sure yet. It's probably either going to be in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Might be Selinsgrove, might be Bridgeport. Those are kind of the two that we're eyeing right now. So
comment below which one you'd like to see us at more.
Yeah,
because I know we have a lot of people who watch from the Pennsylvania area or the Jersey area. So if there's one or the other that you think would be more entertaining to see us at, let us know. We'll take it into consideration. Yeah,
and both of those are short track Super Series sanctioned races. So there'll be 50, 60 cars. There'll probably be more at Bridgeport than there is Selinsgrove, just because they run Sportsman cars weekly there, which puts us at a disadvantage because we've never been there. So, I mean, if you have 40 cars that run there every week, and then you bring 25 or 30 guys that have, you know, never been there, or have been there partially. So we'll see. I'd really like to try Bridgeport out, just the high banks, and it produces super racing. If you've ever watched it on Flow or been there in person, the track is awesome. You can run the top, you know, they can throw sliders, do whatever. I think it's kind of its own animal when it comes to racetracks, especially around us. And it seems like it's bad fast all the time, always has bite. So we'll see. I mean, the thing that's nice with Selinsgrove is we've been there before. It was a little bit rough when we went, but they'd also got 2 inches of rain. But you're familiar with the track and have a general idea. So we'll talk it over and we'll see. You know, in a perfect world, we'd run them both, but that's a long haul 1 week, you know, because they're 7 days apart. So it'd be 8 hours to Pennsylvania and then back, and then 6 hours to New Jersey. And you got to work in between to pay the bills. So we'll see. It's tough right now to say anything for like regular season stuff because nobody's produced a schedule. I think the only track that I've seen that has a schedule out yet is Fonda, and it's unfortunately it's too far for us. It's a 3.75 hour drive to go out there. So we might hit it, a couple times. Maybe try to do some of the throughway races they have between there and Utica Rome. That'd be kind of cool. Another place we've never been to is Utica Rome. Produces really nice racing. That's STSS sanctioned. So that's the thing that's nice about out there is Utica Rome and Fonda are all STSS races. So rule-wise, it's pretty good. But sometimes for tires, it'll be tough because they run a harder compound tire, and we don't have those. So we'll see. We'll look into it and see what it's going to cost and do things like that. It's tough during the school year for the girls, especially for Heather and Kayla, working at the hospital. It's tough to get days off because they are so short-handed. That becomes a big factor sometimes. If we can't get people off of work, we can't go because you don't have any help. So we did do it once where we went to Albany, and it was chaos. It was me, Dad, and Heather at Albany. So we had made our mind up. If you get a flat, our night's over.
It was not going to be over. I was going to handle it.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Heather was going to handle it. We were going to pull it in. So yeah, there's a lot of factors when it comes into figuring out where we're going to race, especially like during the week. So yeah, we'll see and wait and see what schedules they got coming out. Usually around the end of January, you start seeing schedules come out. It's pretty normal. We've kind of figured out now Albany is usually kicks off the first week of April. It's usually either a Friday or a Sunday show. And notoriously it gets rained out, so usually it's the week after. So we've hit that one, the past 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
So that one's definitely, I think, scheduled no matter what. We really like going to Albany and racing. And that'd be a Hoosier race. So that's where it gets kind of convoluted for some of you people that don't realize, when we go to like Selinsgrove or there, we run American Racer tires, which we have here, And then when we go to Albany, Devil's Bowl, all those, we literally have to change tire brands. And there's a lot that goes to it because the sidewalls, of like the American Racer are a lot taller, and the Hoosiers are, I call them like a low pro. They look like a street tire. So that adjusts the handling of the car. So we have to, figure that out. And we've gotten pretty good at, swapping back and forth, but we don't run the American Racers a ton. So every time we go, it's kind of a little bit of an unknown. We just have to get used to them.
Still learning.
Yeah. So, and some people probably don't even realize that, switching tires, it's a big deal, because... It
takes a lot of time at the shop, too.
Yeah, it takes us a whole night, to reset both cars up. And we've got it pretty well figured out now where we can move shock sliders and get it to where it needs to be, and have a pretty general, so you're good at starting. But, yeah, unfortunately, the price of them is all the same. They're all expensive. So they're all, I don't know, what we pay at Port Royal was like $260.
285.
Was it 285?
I don't know.
I thought it was 260.
Maybe
265, maybe.
It's your money. You remember better than I do.
So it was like $500 for a pair of rear tires, which is nuts, And some of the Sportsman races, especially around here, it pays $500 to win. So you can buy a set of rear tires, which is cool, But when you go to places where it rips them off every night, it gets pricey, So that's why we kind of chase the places that pay. Devil's Bowl by far pays the best, for a Sportsman.
Yeah, you can't beat the pay there.
Yeah, I mean, it's $1,200 to win. I don't know how many times we raced for, was it the opening night? We raced for $3,000 to win.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was another race that was $2,500. Then the 100-lap race early in the year was $5,000. So, Mike and Elaine do a nice job of paying us, but I get it because we're the premier division at Devil's Bowl. We're the top dog. The Sportsmen are the top cars, and you go to Albany or places like that, the big blocks are.
Right.
And they should be, So that's where it comes down to us. I mean, pay-wise, you get paid the best at Devil's Bowl. Even if you wreck, you still get pretty good money. And the drop through the purse is pretty good. You see a lot of them that are front-loaded. And that's just the way it is. When you're not the premier division, they're not looking at, you have a generalized pay structure, and there's not a ton of special events. Albany does a nice job. I think that's $1,000 to win there every week now. And sometimes there's a couple sponsors that'll throw in another 500 or 1,000. So they treat you pretty well, you know. But there's some places that, you know, they're a smaller racetrack with a smaller, you know, crowd and all that. So they can only pay so much, you know, because at the end of the day, nowadays promoters, they do it for a living at times. You know, some are a hobby and some are a living. Some have a couple businesses. So that's kind of the spiel of that, you know, and that's where it comes into plays pretty hard factors with us. Sometimes you look at it and go, well, am I going to drive 7 hours to get $50? Now, some places we might, you know, just to check it off the bucket list, you know, and that's even if you get in, you know. Sometimes if you don't qualify, you don't get paid. You know, like out at Fonda, both times with the STSS stuff, we didn't qualify, we would get zero, you know, and that's just part of it. I think it lights a fire under you to do better because, you know, it costs you money. Not that we make any money, but it literally
costs you more money when you don't qualify.
You had to pull out of your pocket the whole time. So
this year, I'd like to see you win either a big check or the Vermont State Granite Trophy at Devil's Bowl.
Yeah.
So those are the big ones. Either of those would be pretty cool.
It'd be cool at Devil's Bowl. I'd be better off with no trophy and a big check. I think the checks are cool. Yeah. Instead of doing like the trophy, you know, because they do a trophy, and that's cool, you know, and the slate one is cool.
Yeah, you definitely want the slate one.
Yeah,
slate
you can still do the slate one, but I think some of the racetracks should do the big check thing. You know, you see down south, that's a big deal. I don't think they give out trophies; they give out big checks, you know, to the winner.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that's cool, you know, because it's kind of, you can hang them up, and you see some of the guys down south, like the late models, they have these checks everywhere. I think Fonda and Utica Rome, I think Brett Deo does a lot of that, but it depends on where you are.
There are a couple for the bigger races at Devil's Bowl. I think they did them, but
yeah,
for the weekly racing, you just get a normal trophy.
Yeah, and I'd be cool with a big check instead of a normal trophy. It probably costs the same to have them made.
Probably.
So, but it's just kind of cool. You know, the big check thing is cool. They don't have a big bank to cash them, so tough to cash those around here.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, there's not a ton going on right now. You know, it's kind of the people are getting ready for speed weeks. We're not, obviously, like we've told you. Just didn't fit in the cards this year. With work, you know, we've been super busy at work, you know, with the building business. We thought it was going to be a little bit slow the first of the year, and it's been the busiest it's been in a long time. So that's great, you know, because the more money we make, the more we can race. But you still have to go to work to make that money. So that's been tough, you know, trying to manage time. And sometimes, like in the off season, we focus on working more, you know, get as much as you can to pull more money so you can sneak off those couple days during the summer, you know. And the best thing is right now we're working inside, so it's not 20 out, and you can wear your sneakers and paint and do that. So, but yeah, that's about it. You know, other than that, it's kind of the same thing as always. We're gonna send our transmissions out. They're sitting on the floor over there. We're gonna bring them to Heiko Fabrication and have them gone through just as a maintenance thing. Dick Hicks out there is a really good guy, really reasonable, and all he works on is transmissions, rear ends, steering boxes, stuff like that. So we were going to send the steering boxes, but they don't have that many races on them because I had torn one up in Florida and put a brand new one in. So they're not that beat up. They steer fine. They're not bent or anything. There's no problem. They don't leak. So I think they're in pretty good shape. Usually the only time they act up is when they're really broken. So we're going to have that. You know, we'll keep those and put them back in. But the transmissions take a pounding all the time. You know, especially when I hate when you have to keep it in creep gear, because all it is a little motorcycle clutch in there, and it's easy to burn the clutch discs up. So, and mine's been, I think, a season and a half now, so it needs to be gone through. And it's cheap insurance. You know, to have it gone through. If it costs you $200, again, it doesn't cost you the race if it's been gone through and something goes weird. Same thing with like changing U-joints in the drive shafts. We got a bunch of U-joints to change, and those really take a pounding because of the misalignment, you know, when the suspension's all rolled up. So there's things like that we're doing.
Big Walt's working on something over there.
Yeah, I think he's getting ready to take his brake bias adjuster apart, and we've actually done a video on that, how that works. I think if you look back, and we'll go over it again. You know, braking is really important because if you can outbrake a guy, You can drive it in deeper and use the brakes better, and it doesn't lock them up. You know, you get the spot. And things like that in a long race. You know, we struggled last year, the brakes fading about 70 laps in. So that's why we went to a different style brake in the front, stuff like that to make it better, you know, so they'll hold up. But yeah, that's about it. You know, it's the off season. There's not a ton going on really. So we'll probably shoot some footage. I'm going to build the new hood and some stuff like that, which we could buy, but we have the time right now, and I'm able to save some money doing it. You know, I think a new hood, I don't even know what they go for, is probably $160, and then the side panel. But it's probably by the time you're done to do the center of the car all in blue, you're probably looking at $500 plus. So I was able to go buy a sheet of aluminum from Chris Donnelly yesterday for $200. So I saved $300. And we had the tools to do it. We have the time to do it. So that's great. We still don't build our own body panels in-house anymore, just because it's so easy to get them now with everybody that has like the CNC cutters, and they literally come with the holes in them. You take and hook the chutes together and all the snaps, and you're good. So that's kind of hard to beat. You know, we used to build all our own body panels, but it's pretty time consuming. And again, if I can go to work and make that money, you know, and do it that way instead of being here in the shop, I'd rather be at work making, you know, doing work. So there's some things like that, you know, we look at a trade-off and go, well, is it worth my time to build it here, or is it worth my time just to go pick it up? And you know, we're talking, I think it's $850 to build a body, and it's $1,350 to buy one. So you're talking like $400, and it'll take you a few days, probably 3 or 4 days for us to bend all the panels. Then you got to drill all the holes and mount them.
Probably a few frustrations too.
Oh yeah, a lot of frustration and some funny words and stuff like that. So we look at it and go, you know, it's a lot faster. And the best thing is we can take that body and leave the plastic on it. Usually we'll stick them in the trailer, and when we're ready, we'll take them up to Julia Vision Signworks and have her just wrap them. So it's a lot easier transfer, you know, it's all done. She peels the plastic off, puts the wrap on them. When we get them back, we snap them on and we're done. So it makes it, you know, the process goes a lot smoother. You know, it takes up less time for us. You know, we can have stuff cleaned, ready to go, and then just snap the body on them. They look great. So there's things like that. Like I said, you can buy anything you want, but it depends on how much money you got. And we enjoy building stuff, you know. That's kind of how both Dad and I were brought up. You know, when you got to create sometimes. With modifieds, it's tough at times because the stuff has been so, you know, engineers and all that stuff have gone through it so much that it's tough to build. But we build as much as we can in-house, you know, the bodies, stuff like that. The stuff that makes sense. If I can build it and it's going to cost me within $3, does it really make sense to build it? Because your time is worth something, you know, at times. So, like during COVID, we built a lot of stuff simply out of boredom. There was nothing to do. We were super bored, and you had time to do it. So yeah, that's kind of my spiel. So we'll keep on trucking. We'll probably show in the next video. We'll show me building some panels, showing Dad doing some stuff. I don't think I read some questions, answered those. I don't think there was anything.
There's a couple new comments.
Yeah, anybody that's commented that's new, thanks for watching. There's been 3 or 4 new people that have commented. Really appreciate you guys watching. Haven't seen your names before. Maybe you've watched all the videos, I don't know, but it's the first time you've commented, so that was cool to see. You know, some different people from different areas, and maybe people that weren't really into racing that caught our videos off of something off of YouTube. You know, YouTube has funny ways of finding people sometimes. So we've actually been struggling with views right now just because we took a couple weeks off between Christmas and New Year's, and it kind of messes up the what do you call it?
Algorithm.
The algorithm.
Yeah.
So it's like Facebook. It has an algorithm and stuff like that. So we're really going to try and do our best to keep posting a video a week.
Gonna start a new kind of little mini series, like Tech Tuesday. So you'll get like a tech tip. It's a little bit of a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Coming up here. Probably start that the following Tuesday.
Yeah.
Not this week,
we'll probably do that. You know, try and do it every Tuesday. We'll probably keep it to like a 5 or 6 minute video. We don't want to bore you completely.
Right.
So, but yeah, we'll do that, and it'll be simple things.
Any ideas for us too, we'd love to hear them.
Yeah.
Love always to hear your ideas, suggestions, what else you'd like us to see us do.
Yeah,
I know someone commented and wanted to see what the girls' responsibilities were, so we can absolutely do that in a video along with like where we or how we got our roots in racing.
Yeah, no, the girls have a lot of responsibility actually. You know, being a team, it's not just we get the cars and go to the racetrack. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that you guys don't see, between going to the store and getting ice, making sure the transponders are charged, GoPros. You know, Kayla does all the tire pressures, so she's pretty busy all the time. Usually mom's a paperwork filler outer. You know, she does all the paperwork stuff. She's got to know our social security numbers by heart now, with the amount of W-9s and all that stuff she's filled out, or 1099s, whatever they are. You know, everybody has a job and they're all really good at it. And we've all done it so much together that we don't even have to ask each other to do stuff anymore. It's a pretty simple, you know, once you get there, you know your role, you know. I mean, we all help unload the cars, but usually, it's funny, my car, I usually don't change the rear tires on it. Usually Kayla does, you know, to get the race tires on, and we do stuff like that. And everybody just kind of assumes their role and does it, and it works really well for us. Is there times that we could use a little bit more help? Yeah, but that's all right. You know, we do it as a family and call it as a team. And you'll see sometimes, you know, with like the Vermont 200, we had some extra help. We had Mark and those guys, you know, come down, and that was a huge help. Just the race was so big, and being live on pit road, and you know, if we'd gotten both cars in, which obviously was our plan, we had 3 girls to roll the 2,000-pound pit box across the thing, you know, and that's a little scary even with Dad and I pushing it around. So having some extra help sometimes is great, you know, but we're fine with what we got too.
I mean, most of the people that came and helped us too are racers.
Yeah.
So they were able to come on a Sunday because they weren't racing at their local track.
Yeah, I mean,
so that was
Mike,
nice.
Big Mike there for the Vermont 200, he races a street stock up at Bear Ridge. Mark is like his crew chief, so that's why we don't see those guys a whole lot. And again, it's a long ways for those guys. It's 2 hours for us, it's 2 hours for them, you know. And what some people don't realize is, you know, your help has to be dedicated. You know, if you've got full-time help, not even that they're
it's
paid.
A whole day. You're
it's
gone
a whole day, every day. You know, and I look at it and go, do you want to devote every Saturday from May to October, the beginning of October, and pretty much you're dedicating your whole day to me? You know?
And not just that, most guys that do go to the racetrack end up helping you in the shop too. So
yeah,
that's a couple nights a week at least. I mean, you guys are in the shop every night, but for someone to come and help, a lot of people do that though. Not here, but
yeah, a lot of people, you know, when Kanan was around, because it was close, you end up with a lot of help, because they can drive 5 minutes over to the racetrack, you know, and shoot over here and do whatever. And you know, when it's local, it's a lot easier. When you're on the road, it's tough, you know, and we don't have the money to pay somebody $300 every week to go to the racetrack, you know, and that's all right. You know, there are some people that can afford that, and that's great. You know, they put themselves in a position where they can pay for help or pay a crew chief, and you know, you see it a lot on the big block ranks, stuff like that. But you'd actually be surprised at the guys that, even with big blocks that are crew chiefs, that you would think are paid to do it, and they're really not.
Right.
They just love the sport, you know, and they might have a side gig, you know, doing shocks or something like that, and they're the crew chief for this team or whatever. But a lot of people just love racing and love to help. But like I said, when you're that far away from home and kind of jump around like we do, it's tough to get help. You know, like I said, when we had Kanan, it was not a problem. So yeah, but now that racetrack's gone, unfortunately.
It's a road course.
Yeah. So, but that's about it. You know, in the next video, we'll show me building some panels, like I said. And we'll keep on trucking. Probably put the steering boxes back in. I got some stuff I got to order. We're kind of in a lull right now. I got to order a few things. Order a little bit at a time as we need it. Like fuel fittings, I ordered a couple of those, but putting fuel line together can be a frustrating job at times because these fittings are so tough to put on once in a while. So it was kind of tough to have a camera and do it. I honestly had forgotten about it. So we'll definitely have some more videos coming out. We'll do the Tech Tip Tuesday thing. We'll keep those to like a 5 or 6 minute video, and we'll keep on trucking. Like I said, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. We have a bunch of t-shirts still, so if you're looking for a t-shirt, let me know. You can shoot a comment here and we'll drop the link below. We might even do a little bit of a sale on them. You know, we have a lot of light gray t-shirts left. Light gray wasn't very popular this year, so maybe we'll do a little bit of a sale or something, because I think we're going to change the designs of the cars up to something a little bit different. So stay tuned and maybe you'll see that. So we'll see you next time.